up, ultra happy people? I am your host, ultra runner and coach Tanya, and your magnificent co-host, Andy.
We are
Yay!
back. Woo!
We are back.
Woo!
And happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy
whatever.
New Year, happy...
It's not New Year yet. You're running out of here. So.
Happy... Just ultra happy. Be ultra happy.
Yeah,
It's ultra happy.
Just happy.
All the time. How's everyone been doing? Oh my God. This is our second take. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Second take. We've had dinner. We've had a snooze. We've been out and about.
So, Andy, we recorded it in the afternoon. And then when we finished recording the episode, he realized he didn't press record. So.
No. I pressed record on the camera.
So it suddenly, magically, it didn't record. So this is us doing it all over again. So let's try to remember if we can remember all the nonsense we spoke the first time. So here we go again. So yeah, I'm so excited to be back. We are back after a long break. I think I was away for like 4 weeks this time.
Longer.
More than 4 weeks.
Well, no, you were away for 4 weeks. We have not been.
Yeah, maybe in the podcast I
think.
stopped recording a little bit probably before, because obviously I like to take 1 week before traveling just to, life gets wild before any travels, as you know. So I am very excited to be back. I am back to tell you all the story about Antarctica. I bet you are all dying to hear it, because I've been receiving messages, and obviously, I've been posting a little bit of pictures here and there. I'm still waiting for the official photos, but I've been posting a little bit of videos that I have and pictures, and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" and receiving the messages like, "That looked amazing." So, yeah, I want to tell all the stories, what happened behind those awesome pictures and that awesome time. I did had a lot of fun, I had to say, and obviously we made it. There's another medal. Number four, people. We are making it through. We have one more to go to finally complete the Grand Slam Plus of Racing the Planet, which was one of the obviously basic objectives of the year. And yeah, we have 10 weeks this season, so season 5, and we have 10 weeks-ish to talk about how we're going to get ready for the last one. And there is an extra one this time. We're just going to finish with like a grand finale.
10 weeks to ramble on.
So Antarctica. No, we're not going to Antarctica. Atacama 250, again, is part of the Great Series. So it's the same self-supported 250 kilometers divided in 6 stages. Same story that we've done 5 times before. And 2 weeks after that, when I finish, we are going to Cocodona 250. That is a non-stop run, 250 miles. So that's around 400 kilometers non-stop. It's not self-supported. So this one I do have plenty of checkpoints. I'm going to have a crew. Andy's going to be there. My family's going to be there, all crewing. I'll have probably a couple of friends coming over, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So that one's going to be a little bit different, but that is 400. It's just 200 kilometers more. Well, 150 more than, the other ones. How difficult can that be, right? So we're going to get ready together for these 2 adventures in these next 10 weeks. So, of course, we have that coming. And I'm going to start telling you all the stories about Antarctica, of course, a little bit of the stories and the traveling I did in Argentina and Brazil with my family. It was really, really nice. And it's good to have you for 10 weeks. We're going to ramble on about that. And I have interviews as well planned. I have a couple of racers. And
do you want to take a breath?
I feel like I'm like...
You just went,
because I remember everything I said the first time because someone forgot to press record.
Yeah, it's not like you hold grudges or anything.
And yeah. So what I was saying? Yeah. So we have those 10 weeks so stick with us, because this is going to be fun. after these 10 weeks. So we're going to get ready together again. Like I said, we're going to have some interviews, Coach Sarah, hopefully to have her here again, just to put us all together and to see the final push. And yeah, of course, we're still having our best section, Facts by Andy. Yay!
Yeah.
You need to be excited again. Oh, God.
Right.
And yeah, so let's start with that before we dive on into the Antarctica chat.
Okay.
Facts by Andy.
Well, and when we done it originally, we mistakenly just ran onto a health segment, didn't we? Because we were talking about running and health and stuff like that. But
it's going to be so bad because obviously, so again, you guys know we don't have anything written, right? So I don't really remember what I said the first time we recorded. We were talking about something about health. Oh, yeah, I remember. I don't know. We were rumbling about something, and I said that.
Oh no, you asked me how my running was going.
Oh yeah, your run is going. But yeah. I remember. I'm going to actually put it in the notes that we're going to talk about in all these 10 weeks as well. One section or one episode about the things that I didn't think I would face, and now that I'm almost coming to the end of this challenge, that it caught me off guard. I never realized how hard it was going to be on my body, like toll it was going to take. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know the extent of it, and how difficult has been for my organs to recover after each race, and having not enough time to recover. So yeah, all that chat is going to be also part of one of the episodes.
Yeah, because one of the big talking points between us all the time is how your body is different.
Yeah,
like you went to
my body's so destroyed.
When you went to the race before Antarctica, you came back and you were like 6-7 kilos over.
Yeah.
Even when we went to the doctor, they were like, "That's not possible. That's
so
the case."
Wild. Yeah.
And then this time you came back and you were roughly the same size, but it just shows you like the different stresses.
Yeah, it's just the water retention, the bloatedness.
Yeah, cortisol is a big massive one
cortisol
as
problem
well.
that I had at the beginning, because obviously my body is like, what the hell are you doing? And it was a big punch for me. And it's interesting because it's something that is definitely something around there. I've received messages from people, from women doing races over 200 miles, and they were saying that we're experiencing the same. It was funny to get those messages.
See, before you started running, we never read anything about that.
Nothing,
we never seen anything.
Nothing.
And we watched a lot and listened to a lot and read a lot.
Yeah, and it's obviously, I guess every woman responds differently, but there is two or three, message me saying, "Oh, I've got the same. Like I came back from 200 with like 5-6 kilos over, and it's just bloatness, and so." And I was saying that there is no obviously, like what I was talking about with the nutritionist in the other, if you haven't heard it, the interview I did with the nutritionist that we had over, and I was saying that there's not a lot of studies again in women, and then more so doing something as crazy as this. I mean, there's only, I think, less than 20 people that have done this challenge in the world. And then I think women, I think I'm number 6 or 7. I'm going to be around there. So there's no many people doing this. And obviously there is no studies or no like, oh, this is the perfect way to fuel or to eat or to survive. Like there is none really. It's just,
I think it also just goes to show that how incredible the body is. And we've said that a lot, because all the functionality of it goes from the normal day that you walk or you go to work or you go and do your thing, to go into these extreme things, and not just once a year, but you're going to be doing like 5 and 12 months.
Yeah.
Almost,
and then 5 races, but each race has 5 days.
Yeah, and the thing is you're putting your body to extremes, so it's no wonder it's reacting in extreme ways, but still managing itself effectively.
Yeah,
which
it hasn't died yet.
Yeah, no, but still managing itself effectively, because what happened is when you come back from the previous race, your body was almost like a different body, and then it came back to being
it was funny. It's like de-bloated a little bit. It's taking time, but it's funny. It's just the body is such a wonderful machine, like absolutely amazing. And it's definitely, even since the beginning of the series of the podcast, I said that these races are a totally different beast, different animal. So compared to what I've done before, there was like 1 day ultra to, like you were saying, 5 ultras, but each ultra is 5 days. So it's not only 1 day that your body is like in high stress, it's 6 days or 5 days. And then a little bit more because of traveling, which is a big stress as well when you're traveling, or even the days before you're packing.
Yeah.
So it's a long day, let's say a 6-7 days that is like high stress. And I did that 5 times the year. So 6 times 5, that's 30 days of like high, like you are in like fight or flight, completely turn on mode. And that's compared to other days or other years that I've done 5 ultras, but only is a 1 day ultra. So it's like in a year, in a course of a year, it's like 5 days of high cortisol, or 5 stress days. But this year I have been almost a month living like, so that's probably a lot of reason why my body and, that way is reacting. But yeah, survived. We've getting there together. We're pushing through.
Yeah.
It's been fun, but yeah.
It's been crazy. I mean, like, even to this point where we're at 4th and we're now going to 5th, it's been, this year's been mental, isn't it?
I know. To be honest,
and it feels like it actually feels like you've been away. Things that we never really thought of. It feels like you've been away a lot. Even you come back and say, "Oh, I'm home," but I feel like I'm never really here.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel like I'm just waiting for the next one. It's just like that period. Like, I have this one is 10 weeks, which I think is the longest.
That's good.
Is it longest?
Time,
but the other ones have been like 4, 6. And I feel like even work-wise or anything, like I feel like I have no time for nothing. Like you have time to recover. You come back, my bag, it doesn't open until like 2 weeks after because I'm knackered from traveling or from leaving, that I'm like, don't unpack until 2 weeks after. So I'm like kind of like adjusting, getting back to normal routine like 1 week after, and then you're kind of like recovering, and again my stomach doesn't feel great, so I have to, so by the time you're kind of like getting again used to your home, or it's time to go again. So yeah, I feel like this year I haven't been here.
I guess we learned some lessons along the way as well, even if you think about from the work perspective and the work we do. Is that originally it started out that we would have a wee meeting when you come back, remember? We went through, but now it's just like this long continuous work WhatsApp call you pick up. And even when you were away, you were saying, "Oh, that actually makes me feel more relaxed."
Yes.
So even like, and there's millions of wee things like that.
Yeah, that's
that
interesting. That's an
do.
interesting topic, because I think I have to say, if I wasn't you holding the fort here, I wouldn't be able to disappear for weeks, and knowing that everything in the house and the businesses are running smoothly. But you were at the beginning, you were like, "Oh, just go and." I have everything taken care of. You wouldn't like. You were like, "Don't worry, I don't want to tell you because
Right, yeah,
and I was like, "That stresses me." I
don't want to stress you, but it stressed you out
but
more.
it stresses me out more not knowing. So all that like kind of like communication couple kind of thing has been really good as well. Like, no, you need to tell me. This is a list. So I create a list of like pending things, or that are like when I leave, we still have to solve, or it's going on. So whenever he writes me an email or something, we have a communication. It just has to like he has to say or update me in those points, so my head is like a little bit more calm and relaxed. Again, we don't have communication, we only have like the emails that you can send through, but actually I cannot answer, but it's great to have that like.
But that was definitely a different this time, because
in Antarctica
in the previous runs there would be like a cut-off date where we couldn't communicate pretty much. You would get an email from me and then I would pretty much get nothing back. I would be going by pictures. Whereas with the Antarctica one, and you're going to touch on it in a while with the travel and everything, there was an element of communication all the time. Yeah. You'd like a 1 gig a day that you could contact.
Yeah, I only have very
something
few.
Like that, but which was handy. Do you know
at least I had. So yeah, I have to say, definitely if you're going to do any of this, also having a support back home is definitely needed. I think that's one of the things that me and all the racers can agree. You cannot do all this by yourself, and I've always said that even in the other races, like it's not a personal sport. I think it's like it's a team sport, truly. It's a team sport from nutritionists, coaching, your family in the back holding the fort, the people that are supporting you. I wouldn't be able to do it alone because it's such a time-consuming sport that is, there's no way that you can.
Even the planning running up to it is quite time-consuming as well.
Yeah, you've seen me. I have to sit down, plan trips, count the food, having to pack. It's definitely time consuming, and if you have to be, your mind has to be concentrated on that. It can't be like attending 10 things at the same time and then making a big mistake. And also, and
I think as well, I don't know if we've ever really spoke about this, but in the background in your head, it's that nervousness of being prepared for the race, not just with the kit and everything else. Because if you look at it beforehand, like, not that you take many supplements, but what you'll do is you'll take things to try and make sure that your body's okay in one way or another.
Of course.
You watch what you're eating, vitamins, everything. You're just in the run up to those particular days.
Yeah, you're like focusing on that, and then you can be, sometimes you're like, or you're too knackered sometimes as well. Yeah, of course. So you need that extra help in the house, definitely, to kind of like, you go and chill, and, because no, it's not, unless my case, like when you're back home, you're not running smoothly the next week. You're like a little bit, like, okay.
In fact, I think the day you came back, you slept for 14 hours.
Oh yeah, that's true. I broke my PR record of sleeping time. So that's it. And I was like jokingly saying that's the PRs I like to chase. I don't like the time running PRs and pace.
And all.
I don't like that. But I can go back to a good sleeping PR for sure. So that was a PR of like 12, 14 hours sleeping. That was a solid night out.
I think you've had a couple of them actually.
I know. I'm so knackered, people. I'm just done. But let's start with your Facts by Andy.
Facts by Andy.
Of the day.
Well, as we kind of touched upon, these ones are actually about health, but I thought these ones would be about interest in health.
I'm going to act surprised because
I know. I'll ask you again. Like, did you know? You told me.
You told me an hour ago. Well, you didn't hit record button.
Well, for everybody out there, these will be very different facts for you. Okay, so improved joint health.
No way.
As we talked about before, and I'm sure every runner out there has had this. Any long distance runner, people will say, "Oh, you're going to damage your knees, or you're going to damage your joints, or something." Well, contrary to common belief, long distance running can enhance joint cartilage health. Regular running stimulates the production of synovial fluid, which lubricates joints and nourishes cartilage, potentially reducing the risk of osteoarthritis. And there has been several studies that have explored this relationship. A study published in Skeletal Radiology examined the knee joints of long-distance runners and found that in the absence of knee injury, obesity, or other risk factors, long-distance running was not associated with the increased progression of knee osteoarthritis. This study suggests that running may not confer additional risks for knee osteoarthritis and could be considered safe for the knees, most running conditions, even multiple ultramarathons per year. But always remember to listen to your body.
I feel like we should have read that like before the holidays, like before like Christmas, because I am having like this thought of like how many times you went to, your family gathering and they are like, "Oh, I seen your pictures. You were running this race, or were you running to? Oh my God, your knees are gonna hurt."
In later years, your knees are going to be terrible.
And you're like,
they are not.
No, Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave that weighs 200 pounds, being obese is going to kill your knees. That for sure is.
Yeah.
Or sitting down all day and not moving. So yeah.
But I think people are conditioned to these myths and things. And I suppose you don't really know the truth until you get studies. And there's not just one or two studies about that. There's actually multiple ones. That's just one.
More so also if you do like strength training, which now, like I said, runners are going into it. So if you're running, probably you're also doing strength training, which also helps. Okay,
next one. Enhanced gut health.
I like that.
Regular long-distance running can positively influence the gut microbiome.
It's because you eat so much crap.
Leading to improved digestion and nutrient absorption. The enhancement contributes to overall gastrointestinal health. One notable study published in Nature Medicine found that marathon runners exhibited an increased abundance of Veillonella. I didn't say that right in the first take either. Veillonella bacteria in their guts after completing a race. These bacteria metabolize, I can still not say that word for some reason because I'm Scottish, and lactate during intense exercise into short chain fatty acids such as propionate, which are beneficial for gut health and may enhance athletic performance. However, another study in Scientific Reports observed changes in the gut microbiota of ultramarathon runners before and after the race. These findings indicate that extreme physical exertion can alter the microbiotica composition, potentially influencing gastrointestinal function and overall health. So actually, because ultra runners are doing consistently long distance and they're doing high cardio exercise, their gut health should be really good.
But lately, I have, well, actually, the last podcast I was listening on my run, I don't know if you guys have heard, probably you have heard about David Roach, where he is like the new running sensation, a new ultra running star. And he was talking about the gut health, that he takes care of his gut health, and it's important or something to tap into, what's the name? To take things that help your gut and keep it healthy. So when let's say you eat a gel, or you're eating all your nutrition fuel, it kind of gets digested better because exactly. So yeah, something to look into. So yeah.
I think there's a lot of new things coming out about gut health.
Probiotics. I remember the word.
I mean, even these days now, when you go to the doctors and they give you a prescription for things, what they'll quite often do is they'll prescribe a probiotic for your stomach if you're taking medicine, because they're trying to protect your stomach.
It will protect your stomach and will allow the nutrients or whatever the thing is to
actually soak in and
take it better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This one was a surprise. And you can
I will act surprised again. Oh my God, I don't know what you're gonna say.
But reduced risk of eye disease. So engaging in consistent long distance running has been associated with lower risk of age-related eye conditions such as macular degeneration and cataracts. The benefits underscores the systematic advantages of regular aerobic exercise.
I think it's because of the blood flow. Like you are obviously. It's an aerobic exercise, so your blood is moving through all your body.
We talked about the oxygenation, and also the blood flow. I think it's got a lot to do with that. But I mean, obviously, too late for me. Too late for me. I am super blind as well. So, but I think it's
cataracts though. So maybe when you're older, you won't have that.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
We're both blind, so
maybe not. Yeah, it's funny. We're completely opposite ends of the scale. You're super short-sighted, and I'm super long-sighted. So yeah. So if we try each other's glasses on, we feel drunk.
Yeah. So we're perfect for each other, shouldn't we?
And this is my favorite
I can't remember what was it. Someone definitely act surprised.
All time, and I love this one. And this is not just. This is obviously for runners out there to tell their friends, get them into running, everything.
Okay.
So, increased longevity.
I am immortal.
Studies have shown that runners have a 30% lower risk of death from any cause, and 45% lower risk of death from heart disease or stroke. Research has demonstrated that regular running significantly reduces mortality risks. A study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology found that runners had a 30% lower risk of all-cause mortality and a 45% lower risk of cardiovascular mortality compared to non-runners. Notably, even minimal running, 5 to 10 minutes per day at speeds below 6 miles per hour, was associated with these substantial benefits. And additionally, in the British Journal of Medicine study, they noted that there's a 23% reduced risk of cancer mortality. I mean, you crossed out cancer.
heart disease, and stroke. I mean, that's like one of the big three, like, reasons or things of why would you die. So
I mean, I think I've said to you before, and maybe even on the podcast, is that from a health point of view, it's obviously it's something you need to look after. Yeah. Strokes terrify me because there's been a history because there's a history of strokes in my family from my grandma and grandpa and things like that. So always gets me worried. And I think that reading those sort of things, you think to yourself, well, do you know what? Actually, I'm glad I'm a wee bit more invested in running now, because anything that you can do to help yourself,
it gives you a little bit more odds on your favour.
Yeah, I mean, 35-45% are high odds.
That is a lot. It's much. I've always, to all my athletes, even if they're runners or no runners, they come, and I have a couple of athletes that they're just like mums that they just want to keep fit and strong, just to normal life. They're not running any marathons or any races. They just want to keep healthy. All of them, they run at least one day a week. And they might have hated, and some of them have started hating it, and then later on turned into be like, okay, maybe I try a half marathon, and maybe a marathon. They turned into runners later on, even though they said at the beginning, I'm not running. I'm like, well, you have to. Like 20 minutes, exactly. You have to, because you have to. It's part of fitness. Like you need to be strong and have some aerobic capacity. You can't just I think the balance.
I think in some cases, definitely in previous generations, there's an element of that. A lot of health is just down to luck. It's just luck. I mean,
genetics.
Just
genetics. That's what you got.
You see what happens. But I think that everybody definitely believes that keeping healthy, whether it be weightlifting, cycling, running, or
gives
swimming, gives you better odds.
Absolutely.
But to see and hear studies that are telling you that you've got 35 to 45% chance of being better or not getting these things, just it makes you kind of not quite completely cross things out, but definitely think of it differently.
Yeah, just be fit overall, like strong and aerobically, like not. What's the name of what's the word that now people hybrid?
Hybrid, you hate that.
I hate that word. It's like people. It's just being fit, strong, and able to run aerobically. Be strong aerobically. Be strong physically, like muscle wise, and be able to lift heavy, run. It's just being fit. Like why is this wild
label it
new?
Whatever they want to be.
It's just this person that created this marketing of higher. It was just brilliant. Yeah, let's call it hybrid, and there's a new thing which me way before Hyrox, and I've been training like that for years before.
But before that, it was Spartan, and I remember even
but we're just training, but we didn't have a name.
But I remember originally when you were with your Mexican training group that they would call themselves Spartans.
Oh yeah, because that's how if you do Spartan races.
Well, if
that's
you do a Hyrox, then you're a Hyrox.
You're a hybrid. Hybrid. That's how they call it now. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think just being fit, strong, healthy, being able to run without any labels, just be fit and healthy.
I remember I said to you just before you went, right, because I was running, I think we were doing a 10K, and I said to you, am I a hybrid now?
And I'm like,
shut up.
You stupid or what? You're just running. You're just fit, and that's it. Like, just don't put labels on it. That no extra labels is what it is. And even like if you get into an injury, for example, I'm going to put in the spotlight now. Zara, she went into a surgery, and it was so crucial for her to be strong, because even if you go into surgery and so on, to be prepared for it, have a body that is muscle, like has more muscle, lean muscle, rather than is going to help in your recovery as well. So even if you get into an accident or you have an injury and you have to get surgery, being healthy and strong is going to give you also better odds than not being. So yeah, big advocates of just moving. You don't need to run, just...
Disclaimer, we are not doctors.
Disclaimer, you're stuck in crazy here. But the other things, don't go to the other side of the extreme case like me. Because if you ask me, I wouldn't recommend anyone to do what I did.
Really? Would you not recommend that?
Oh man, I would tell them, like I said, what what I went through and what my body has gone through, and don't do this challenge if you think you're gonna get in the best shape of your life and you're gonna feel super athletic and strong, because that's just gonna disappear. So just be ready for it. If you still want to do it, you're super strong and you want to take the hit.
Definitely, we never expected some of the things that have happened to happen. However, and although we did do a lot of research and we did read, there was nothing out there to explain it to you.
Like I said,
hopefully, like our wee podcast.
Yeah, it will help. So I would recommend it, because obviously there is
those experiences.
For example, I'm gonna go and dive into Antarctica in a second, but just like I was saying, like just saying I ran in Antarctica, like how amazing! Like just being there is cool, I guess. But just saying, oh, I ran there. If you're a runner, I think that's the ultimate place you want to be and run. So
even just to say you've done it. Yeah, I mean, I know you're going to touch upon it, but it wasn't a run like you ran in a desert or you would run elsewhere.
It was not a race.
It's completely different from.
It was a different experience.
But imagine being able to say you've done it, and that's the thing.
So that was our last adventure in Antarctica, and the adventure obviously started with traveling to Antarctica, and that itself was a whole of an adventure. And you probably, if you were keeping up with my socials, you probably knew or know about the marathon I ran before getting into even the Antarctica, with all the flights, the mess up flights I had, and all the mad delays I had.
I would just call them bad luck.
I think it was bad luck, yeah. But if we learned something in this podcast, was that we need to travel 1 or 2 days before the actual start or first meeting or check-in day, right? Which is very important, because if I didn't have this planned, I would have missed the race completely. So because I knew it was around 34 hours of traveling. There were 4 flights involved into getting to the other side of the world. I put myself a big cushion this time of 3 days, arriving 3 days, 2 nights before the start of the check-in for the race. So I thought, you know what, and I take it as in, if I make it on time, I'm just gonna have time to go and walk around Ushuaia and, you know, enjoy my time there. And I knew there was other races.
Have a spa day.
Or have a spa day, because I actually booked a really nice hotel, because I thought that, like, I'm gonna get knackered, I'm gonna get there, and if I have, you know, free time, I'm just gonna enjoy my time, relax and enjoy. And like I said, there was a couple of people already that were there from the race. Like we have a chat group, and they were saying like, oh, we're here already, and they were sending pictures that looked amazing. So I thought, you know, that's great, we're gonna be there 3 days before. So my original plan, or my original flights, were Dubai to Istanbul, Buenos Aires, Ushuaia, boat.
Was there not a Sao Paulo flight?
So there is Istanbul, Buenos Aires, and that plane had a stopover just to refuel. So I didn't have to come down. So we did land it, but it was just a refueling. And then I didn't even move. We were just sitting there.
Okay.
Well, that was just a refueling stop. And then on to Buenos Aires. So it really was 3-4 flights. Yeah, it wasn't overcomplicated, to be honest. It's just I got bad luck. So everything starts with the one from Dubai to Istanbul, which usually is like a fairly routine flight. It's not far. It's 4 hours. We've taken that flight. It's one of the common flights to go to a longer flight. Usually we have taken that one often. And so the first flight couldn't land in Istanbul. For some reason, we didn't get a reason or like why we were stopping in, like, I don't know. I think it was like mechanical problems or something, apparently.
Oh, terrifying.
Which, who knows?
Maybe that's why they didn't do you.
So there was a motor engine just falling off. That one.
Or there's a lot of UFO things happening.
Oh God, yeah, and the pilot got scared. Anyway, we didn't land, so we had to go to Antalya. So I was like, where is that?
You know where that is.
We've been. Yeah,
We've not been. We were going to go.
I think we did a stopover for something.
Yeah,
we were so I remember the airport. And anyway, we got derouted there. So we landed there. We came out all, and I was like, are we gonna, like, what's gonna happen? Obviously, everyone's speaking Turkish. I had no idea what everyone's saying. And at the beginning, I was like making the queue to kind of ask the flight attendants, like, what is happening? What are we doing here? No one was answering. And it's total chaos. I don't know if you ever guys have gone through that. It's total chaos. There's people shouting all over. There's all these people confused. There's me trying to get answers. And to be honest, I just wanted an answer saying, like, are you going to put me in the next plane? Like, do I need to find a plane on my own? Like, when is the next plane leaving? Because by that point, I would have missed already my other 3 flights. Obviously, it's the first flight. So if you miss that one, obviously all the other ones, totally missed them. So I was like, I need to book my other flights again. Like, you need to tell me what you're doing. Anyway, I think I was fighting for attention because they were like literally the worst airline ever. So I'm never flying with Turkish again. And it was like, I understand it may be, you know, a fault in the plane or whatever, but that has nothing to do with the service. Like, you can explain me what is happening and I would have been totally cool with it. Not cool, but at least I would know my options. But they were ignoring me.
I think that's at the point where you phone me and you can't.
And then I was like, why are you ignoring me? I was in the face of the flight attendant or the guy in the door, and he was like, I was like, no one was talking to him, and that tipped me over because I was like in this pressured situation. I need an answer, and you like, I just wanted to punch him in the face. So since I can't do that, I decided to cry. I went to call Andy and then just exploded in a million pieces.
And we actually at that point we kind of started looking at flights, didn't we, to see if we could get you out, because you didn't know at that point what was going to happen.
And then the other flights that I was looking, they were saying that I would get to Ushuaia 3 days later, which that was not an option. So that's when I started getting really uncomfortable, because it's like there is no other flights that would get me there on time. And that was starting to feel quite, and that's what I was crying and feeling like, oh my God. Anyway, later on, one of the passengers, I guess he spoke the 2 languages, English and Turkish, and he was able to calm all the crowd, telling him, okay, this is what's happening. Was this just a passenger? Just a passenger. Oh, really? I think he went through and he was able to communicate with one of these people, and he went out and he was like talking to the crowds, because again, everyone's, you know, obviously quite upset. And he was just telling what's going to happen. They're going to put us in the next flight around 7 p.m. or something like that. So it was quite late. So that means we'll arrive to Istanbul super late. So that means that I will have to fly the next day. So take the next day flight to Argentina, to Buenos Aires. And I remember we arrived to Istanbul super late, and there was like a longest queue to get those hotel passes. And I was like, I'm not going to make that queue. I'm just going to go to normal.
You're too tired by that point.
I was like, I'm not. So like after all that, they're asking you to do a queue to get a coupon so you can go and sleep for the night. And it was like the longest queue, because I guess we're not the only flight, or I don't know. There was a long queue. Problems. So obviously it was like, I'm not going to stay there for 3 hours to get there and then have a 1 hour sleep. Like, so I went to the hotel in Istanbul and just spent the night there, and just waited for the next flight. And I think it was in the night.
What was it? No, because it was the flight was the exact same flight.
Yeah, that I was. The next day. So I was able to wake up late and kind of like, okay, hope for the best. And I said, okay, this is going to be it. Nothing else is going to happen. So I took the flight, great, Istanbul, and my bags were with me. So that's a good point. They were able to put all the bags out. So
did you take your AirTag with you?
Yeah, I got it as well. But I got my bags with me all the time.
Funny story. I don't know if I mentioned this before. The very first time you used the AirTag, remember?
Yeah. I was like, why my AirTag
You put the AirTag in the bag, and we didn't realise that there was a slight delay, and Tanya was taking off, checking the AirTag, and then she's like that. The bag's still in the airport. Total panic, but now we understand how it works.
It's like seeing how you're moving far away from the tire. Like, no, my bag. No, but let's not touch wood. That's never been the problem in these ones. And so I took the other flight the next day. Istanbul, Argentina, with a little stopover in Brazil, right? Sao Paulo, I think it was. And here we go. We take the plane, happy to make it to Buenos Aires, because I knew once I arrived to Buenos Aires, it would have been like, it's just on a little jump and that's it. Like, I can swim.
I don't know about that, but yeah, you could give it a try.
I'm so close. Once I get there, I'm good. So we took that flight, and it was all good. We arrived to Sao Paulo, they refueled, whatever, and then we started heading over to Argentina, which is another like 4 hours. And then something started happening, because I started looking at the plane, a little, map, and the plane started to do like loops around Argentina. And I was like,
Buenos Aires airport.
Buenos Aires, yeah. And I was like, what is happening? Wait. And then eventually the pilot is like, we cannot land because we have, what's it?
There's no weather issues?
Yeah, weather issues. I'm like, weather issues looks quite calm here. Anyway, we're going back to Sao Paulo. That's another 4 hours back. And there's no flights.
You would have thought they would have diverted you to a local airport rather than going back.
And Buenos Aires has like 3 airports. Anyway, back to Brazil. And again, they allocated us a hotel. I was losing faith for humanity at that point. I've been traveling for 30 plus hours, 40.
It was meant to be 32 in total,
yeah, and then
wasn't
by
it?
that time, I've been, because of all the
So you've been
delays
like
and 40 something.
like
Yeah,
that point.
I've been 2 days traveling by that time with the same clothes, same everything.
Well, that, to be fair, that's normal for you.
I mean, I've survived 5 days with no shower and running 200 kilometers. I could survive with that. And yeah, so I slept there. And then that's when I realized they were putting me on a flight that I was not going to make it to Ushuaia in time, because they were giving you the next flight in the evening, like 7 p.m. That would not take me to Ushuaia, because I will have to buy another flight to Ushuaia, and those connecting flights were not working. So total panic mode. The Wi-Fi of the room was totally shut, so I had to run to the hallway, I remember, and trying to catch the Wi-Fi. I took a notepad and I was writing like the planes that they were just trying to understand what other options I had from like flight websites, Kiwi, Booking, all the websites that I could. Anyway, it was like a panic mode. And then there's Andy panicking even more, calling me 10 times. I was like, stop calling me. I'm trying to sort my life out. But because I hung you up and then you called again. I'm like, mate, I told you I hang up. It's because I am doing something.
And the thing is that is the one thing that grinds my gears. I always say to you, because Tanya literally, if she doesn't get you, she phones you 10 times. And I'm like, I'm doing something if I don't answer. And then I know I've done it to you.
I know. I was like, and it was horrible because I was trying to pay or trying to see something, and then you know when you're like scrolling, and then the screen kind of gets blocked because of the phone calls coming. I was like, I swear to God, I want to kill him. Anyway, I was able to get a flight to another Argentinian airport, not the original one that I've had planned, because that one had more planes leaving to Ushuaia, like more regularly. So I was like, this is one of those ones. I will make one of those ones. So by then I had 1 day and a half to make it, which is still plenty of time. But if one thing goes wrong, the delays are massive, It's like not a delay of half an hour. It's like you need to take the next one for the next day. So you missed the whole day. And yeah, so the next one was leaving like in a couple of hours. So literally showered, thank God, and went to that airport. There was another airport, and yeah, made it to Ushuaia after 60 something hours. So it was 3 days of traveling. And thank God I booked a hotel beforehand, obviously. The one that I said that was like a very nice hotel. I couldn't cancel it, so I had to call my friend, a lucky friend. And I was like, hey, where you staying in Ushuaia? Because I knew she was arriving, same thing, 3 days before. And she was like, oh, in this little hostel up the road. And I was like, well, you're in your lucky day.
She's like, jackpot.
You can use my hotel because I'm not going to make it tonight. And I thought it was going to be one night, but then one night turned into 2 nights, and then 2 nights turned into the 3 nights. So yeah, she enjoyed the 3-night stay. I did arrive the last night, and it was nice to at least have like someone to arrive to, and she was like so helpful, and she had like everything, like dinner prepared and everything, because she knew I was arriving very late. And yeah, it was nice. Also, it was super nice because, like I said, we have a chat group of, racing the planet or the race, and I was telling everyone, I'm having these issues to get there, and everyone was like super, super nice. They were like worried and tell me if I can help you booking a flight. You need help to pay or to research. I can help you. Like, they were super, super nice, and they were always asking like, where are you, Tanya? Where's the status? Like, keep us updated. So when I make it there, I kind of forgot because I was knackered and I just went to bed. And I woke up the next day and I had like messages of them asking like, did Tanya make it? What happened? Like, I can't believe she put us through all this and she didn't tell us the whole, like, how is the ending? Like, she made it and all that. And my friend was replying, and she's next to me. She's knackered. She's dead here next to me, but she's good.
Emotionally drained, but
he's good. She's here. And then that day, woke up, fixed the bags and everything, because we have the check-in at the hotel. So, and when the check-in, it was super nice. Everyone's like, oh my God, Tanya, you made it. And everyone's like, I was like, I know. It was like, it was funny. It was good to find that, like, to feel that support. And like I said, everyone, I think in all the trail running community, but more in this race, because this race is like it's a tiny family, because we've run with them now for most five races. Yeah. And there's 10 of us that have done the whole thing like me. So, you have like now friends there that are like they've gone through what you've gone through. So it's super, super nice and supportive. So yeah, I arrived super, super relaxed. Now I can relax now. I feel like I think the first struggle is to, one, get to the race or to the date of the race and travel like injury-free, healthy, without being sick, without having a flu or COVID or whatever, injury-free again, without getting yourself broken. And then second, get to the destination with your bags complete. I mean, once you have those two sorted, you are...
Yeah, everything else is simple after that, isn't it?
Everything, the simple part or the easy part now is to run, right? Yeah. So, I mean, in theory is the easy part, to just run, and that was it. So I was able to do the check-in. We had obviously the check-in at the hotel. It was just more of a chat. They were going to do the full gear check-in equipment and all that inside the bird, where I will tell you when we do the check-in in the boat. But this was cool. They kind of told us what's going to happen. How is this race? So this race is a little bit different from the other races that I've done. So because of the extreme conditions of the Antarctica and the unpredictability of the weather and all that, they cannot do a point-to-point, right? It will be really difficult to do the point-to-point. So they usually do loops. And because the boat also is at the mercy of the weather and the water and the ice moving around, they can't stay, and the permits that they have to stay in each place, they have to tell us per day how many hours, so it's run by time, we can be in that loop or in that position of the island X amount of hours. So they have an approximately like a rough estimated time per day, and that would change. And yeah, it did change through the day. So I think the first day, which was the long day, was 12 hours. The next one was like 10. The next one was 8. And it was supposed to be the last one 8, but it cut off at 6. So things like that. So they kind of explained us that just to be ready for the unpredictable, like just be ready for everything. How the bags and the food was going to work also was different, because this is not self-supported 100%. So you're not carrying all your food. Obviously, you're getting fed and showered and everything. Yeah, and in the
can
boat.
I tell you, see the images and the videos of that
You were
food?
so jealous.
Oh, it looked amazing.
It was amazing. The food was, like, the taste was good as well. Yeah, I will talk about that. I was very happy. That's why probably I didn't come back that broken from this one. Like,
You were nourished properly
like
instead of
organically,
dehydrated.
like my organs were happy, like I was not eating.
Yeah.
And also, so we had to be carrying in the back just like safety equipment, your crampons, like extra gloves, a hat, different jacket just in case it got colder. So anything that you would need in those 12 hours, like gear wise, right? And then you had, that's in your backpack when you're running. And then you have the drop bag, which is like safety equipment in the case you guys or everyone gets stranded in the island. Let's say that the boat could not, or for some reason we hit a storm and we cannot use the Zodiacs, which were like little boats that would take us from the boat to inland. So in case they couldn't work for some reason, for weather conditions, and we were stuck in inland, we were able to be okay. So sleeping bag, what's the name? The safety bag, the one that is like really warm, and aluminum bag, an extra like full gear on of like warm clothes, parka, and everything. So that's the drop bag, which you cannot access during the race. That is put in the side. That's an emergency bag.
Oh, so it's
you
just
cannot.
in a wee section,
yes.
yeah.
So if you put something in there, that when you were running, what happened to me, I put some gloves in the other one that I thought they were in my backpack, and they were not in my backpack. You're screwed. Like you can open it. So you're done. And another bag that is the food bag. So you're going to be, remember that you cannot eat on course. They were explaining us as well in that check-in or that. That's why it's very important in the meeting, because this is a very different setup of the other ones, really. And so because we were told that we were not going to be able to eat during the race, we were like very wondering, how is that going to work? Like I didn't know exactly.
So like you couldn't take a guru or anything?
Yeah, exactly. You cannot bring wrappers, like I was saying, no nuts, no, like nothing that could fly away and pollute the island or, yeah. So we were like, obviously I had I had a couple of like goo waffles, and I have a goo like gels. Those are fine, yeah, because I put them in a Tupperware though. So I was able to, so they were telling you that what can you bring, just telling you again, and everything has to be in Tupperwares as well. So let's say the goo waffles that had wrappers, I will have to unwrap them and put the waffle or the food in the Tupperware and seal it, and then put it in my food bag. And the food is only consumed in the start or the end of a loop. So you have like a tarp that they put in where you can only eat just if something
like a
falls.
area.
Yeah, if it falls also, it doesn't fall in the ground. Yeah. Just like a mat, so if you're eating, you're not polluting, and the ice, it will fall into the tarmac, and you actually had to eat over the tarmac, the tarp. So that was very important as well. So during the loops, you could not eat. And that was one of the things that was very different from the other ones. So it was a riddle to kind of solve how to eat without having to stop. My plan was not to stop every loop. I mean, there was people you could, to be honest.
How long does it take you to do a loop?
Well, it depends again, because each loop, it would depend how big it is. There were loops that were 5K and like 2K, the shortest one. Yeah. So it was difficult to know, first of all. And it was difficult to plan all along. So you just put a lot of food in there and just be like, okay, just hope for the best. I planned all along to put all my calories, or most of my calories, in my water. So fill the bottles with water, and I would put them like super concentrated. So the first couple of loops or gulps were like, ooh. I was like, oof. So I would need just a tiny sip. And then every time I would top it up, it would start dissolving. So I had in my drop bag as well just powder. So I would stop every 4 hours. I would really didn't stop every loop. But again, you could if you wanted to. So because of the format was so different, that's what I was saying, that I don't know if I would recommend it as a race. It's more of an experience race. Like, don't think you're going to go in there to
be fast and race.
I mean, there was the top, obviously the elite people, like the two top ones, the top one men and top women. They were like racing hard, but to be honest, I didn't feel like it was a proper, like, you know, they were not counting the loops very strictly. There was a lot of like leeway for mistakes. There were suddenly times that people had more loops that they ran, and it was a whole mess, to be honest. So
because you didn't have individual GPS either.
no,
so
we didn't have GPX either, because Antarctica doesn't allow GPS trackers, apparently. So yeah, it's a little, or I don't know if the situation with the GPS, if it was not allowed, or I don't know, or they didn't bother bringing them, because we were in a 1 kilometer loop, so it's not like you're gonna.
No, you can see everybody.
It's not like you're gonna get lost, right? Yeah. So maybe it was because of that. But anyway, we didn't have a GPS, so yeah, it was. That's the difference of this format of the race, and that's sort of what happened in this race that we're gonna talk about the next episode. And so we'll start with stage 1, and I'll talk about a little bit of the boat.
I was going to say the Drake Pass, because that's almost because I remember that I was thinking to myself, because I got a message for you, not from you, from the rental company, because I think from the previous podcast we explained that what you can do is you can rent your gear in the Schweizer, which is great, because it means that you don't have to carry it all, and you were loving that. But I got a message from them saying, what we'll do is we'll bring the gear to the boat, and then if there's any size changes, you can do it. You'll have like a 45-minute window just to make sure everything's okay. So try it on as soon as you can.
Actually, in the check-in with the race, they told us that, because they sent that email quite late. I was already flying and there, and that they say that in the. So we did the check-in after we did the chat, because it was not a check-in, it was just more like a meeting where they were explaining us how the race was going to work and all the food situation and all that. We had a little bit of hours to get our bags sorted and put into the drop-off of the port. So we had to walk. We checked in the GPS, and I was like, it's 800 meters away. We can carry them.
We're ultra runners. We know what they.
And I'm with my friend Maya. I'm like, I think we can carry them. She's like, I don't know. I'm like, it's just 800 meters. Like, we can't do it. Halfway through, we're like, oh my God, why didn't take the cabin? She's like, I told you. We're like sweating and dying. I was like, oh man, I'm so knackered. So yeah, that was stupid. Anyway, we made to the port, drop off the bag, and we went back to where we met the first time, because we were all going to walk together to the boat. So where you drop your bag is one space, and then like where you walk into the boat to check in the boat is like another space. So when I checked in the boat, you check your cabin number, and I knew who I was with anyway, because they sent a list beforehand. So I knew I was with my friend Maiwa, a Spanish runner, which she actually won second this time. She's an amazing athlete, and she's super funny. So that's sort of the people you want next to in a fun race for sure. So we arrived to the boat and we check in our cabins. The cabin was so cool. I will attach here a video. If you're listening, just go to YouTube, watch it. I'm going to try to put here a video of the cabin. There was 2 beds, thank God, because I've heard there were cabins of 4 people. I cannot imagine 4 people in that small cabin.
I can't imagine them dealing with your snoring.
Oh, I don't snore, even though Maiwa says I do. There is two beds. There's a super tiny, nice window, but it was beautiful because you can see the water. And the best thing, it had a shower and a toilet. And we were all shouting like, we have a shower and a toilet. And then probably the people from the boat, like the crew of the boat, they were like, these people are weird. They're happy because there's a shower and a toilet. And we're like, you have no idea what I've went through.
I think they were probably hoping there wasn't a toilet. I know, but that's a story for another.
Obviously. I have a story of I almost broke the whole boat. Like, obviously we had to, almost.
I don't know if it's broke the whole boat. We broke the whole boat toilet system.
I don't know. It was about to explode. I'll keep that story for the next one because it's during the race. And we sailed off And we started getting, they said we were going into the Drake Pass right away, almost like 2 hours in. So we barely had time to do you know how you have to do the safety drill? You have to walk with your safety life jacket out the boat. Like they show you which is your lifeboat just in case. All that kind of like fun stuff. It was quite funny. And we were singing Titanic songs.
I can just imagine.
So, I mean, not for everyone. There were some people that were about to punch us, and there were some people that were laughing. So, I guess if you are my kind of humor, you would laugh. But we're all like, imagine the two Spanish-speaking crazy girls. And the good thing is also she's kind of my age as well. So, we were only like 4 or 5, very few like people my age. Everyone's usually a little bit older, so they did get a bit upset and affected a little bit, more. And then there's us screaming, "My heart will go on," and it was funny. So we finished that, and we started hitting Drake Pass, and it was a rough sail, guys. I'm not gonna lie, and it was a rough sail for someone that's never sails, clearly, because the crew of the boat were saying that it was such a nice, smooth ride. And I was like, yeah, you think that?
Well, it's funny. I remember, I think actually I posted it on your Instagram as a meme, just saying, oh, we were talking and we were video calling, remember? And we were doing quite happily video calling. Tanya's lying there relaxing on her bed. We're video calling, everything's great. And then next thing I see the phone lying on the floor, and we've got the video footage and the camera footage of it all flying in the air and landing down.
You know how it feels? Like, I think that's how it feels, zero gravity. To be in zero gravity. I just feel like floating. I just feel like floating. My wife and I realized that it was better if you were just like laid down. If you were trying to walk or be about or standing up, that's when I would make it really, really bad. We will both feel nauseous right away. We even put patches, like sickness patches, like nausea patches.
Did you use your funky glasses?
I did not use my funky glasses, but my patches, and they were very good, I think. I got sick once in the whole Drake Pass.
I'm not sure you know this, but how do they work, the patches?
They do microdose. They microdose. Yeah, the medic told us. Okay. And it's supposed to be put in 2 or 4 hours before going in. So when we went on the meeting, the doctor, we have doctors from the race with us, said, put your patches now. So, and he explained us what the patch does and
very good.
All that. So also we were very well taken care of for sure. And so I was only sick once, and sick-ish. Like I kind of felt it coming. I think I was being too wild. Like you could go have a shower and then you needed to lay down for 3 hours because that was like too much. So you can only do one thing and then have to lay down and just kind of relax your stomach and let your stomach settle again. So out of the days, you couldn't do much, to be honest. We couldn't go out and about, or get too wild. So it was very funny. We were just laying down, talking, pish, the two Latinas, and you're just having fun. So it was fun. We did go out to the bridge where the captain is, because you can go if it's open to say hello and see,
have a look at what it's like.
So we were up there with the captain, very young captain. Well, it was the second commander or the second in line, because I think the first one obviously it was a Russian. It was not a pilot, captain, captain, and then there was a second one, and he was there and very young, very, very young. So we were just playing around, and he's like, "Please don't touch anything, please don't touch anything." And we were just like playing around with the tools and everything. Funny story. So we went up the bridge that time, and we went out the way, so through the outer deck up the stairs into the bridge. So they're like, the guy is like, the captain is like, you know what, you guys need to go because it's starting to get a bit rough. I'm gonna close it. Everyone go back to your rooms. So we're like, okay. So we thought, let's go back in the same way we came in. So that means outboard, like over the board, down the stairs, open the door and go in, right? Anyway, it was, like you said, he was starting to get really rough, guys. And then I tried to go down on the stairs, and then I arrived to that big door. It's one of those like doors that have the
turnbolt doors.
Yeah. But it was not opening, and the boat was starting to move really rough. And I was like, and my friend and I were like, open us, we need to go in. So like pure desperate trying to open the door. Anyway, I don't know how I unlock it. And the door is one of those massive metal heavy doors.
Yeah, because
right?
they're watertight. It's in case the boat goes down.
And obviously they close them because probably the captain said it's getting rough. You guys, everyone close the doors, get sealed down. And we're out there in the deck, like, please let us in. And I couldn't open it. Anyway, I unlocked it. But the door was so heavy and the boat was rocking so hard, and the wind was like so strong. So when I opened it, the door opened really, really abruptly. Like,
fast.
It just sent me all the way through like the other side. Like that would have been really scary because the water was just like right next. Like, it's not a big boat, guys. So everything is tiny. So the door literally like just swung me out the way. And I guess the crew heard the screamings and all. They came out. Screaming and laughter. I was screaming because I was terrorized. I was laughing because I was, obviously nothing happened. But it's just that feeling of stupidity of like, oh my God, I almost killed myself here. And the crew came out running saying, you guys can't be out there, you know.
I'm not trying to get inside.
But that made me laugh even worse. I felt like a school kid getting in trouble. And they were like really not mad, but they were like, you guys can't do that. Like that was stupid. So that was one of the funny stories. And I couldn't stop laughing. I was like crying laughing, you know, like that laugh that you're just like your tears start to go out. But it was a funny story. And after that, smooth sailing, going back to just lay down and just standing up for meals. Meals were really nice, and the chefs and everyone was really, really nice. And the food was good taste. And I love that it was like really healthy food as well. Maybe because he knew, maybe. I don't know if they will cook like that always.
By healthy, you mean what?
Like vegetables, everything was like steamed. There was nothing like fried. And I was like, what is this? Like, is this like a fat camp or something? Like very healthy. Not that I wanted the other way, but it was really good experience. Like that the food was good, because usually, you know, when you go to this place, like everything's butter or fried, and then your stomach is already like, or maybe it's because the cook knows that everyone's going to have the stressed stomach because of the movement already. Like everyone's already not feeling great, so you do not want anything that kind of bothers your stomach even more. So that was quite good that they kind of knew everything. And that's it. With that said, we arrived to the first day, and we'll leave that chat for our next episode, stage 1. It's going to be the longest day in my life. No, not my life. 12 hours. Was not that long. And quite surprisingly, it was exciting because we were like ready to step in land. To be honest, I was so ready. I was like, get me out of this boat, please. And it was exciting to like, you didn't know what to expect. We were inside the boat. We didn't feel cold. And if you step out of the boat, it was windy, so it was coldish. So we didn't really know what the weather in land, like when you're stepping footing the ground, if it's going to be cold or not. Or
you said that it wasn't too bad. There was days
it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
You said that some of the runs that you done in Scotland were cold.
Oh, 100%. And I will leave that for the next chat. And I'm going to answer some questions from the people from Instagram that already put there a couple of questions really fast, because I think we're going over the time. And questions. Question number 1. We'll do 3.
What was that?
Question. How to prepare for a race in the snow living in a tropical country? Oh, good. Camel bus. So I obviously, coming from all these races, my training was pretty much nothing because I was just recovering and going in. If you were an athlete that I was training and I was coaching and you were like, let's say, going to do anything that is cold, we would do the same thing, like following a cold protocol, like cold exposure protocol, same as the heat exposure, but just with cold, one. And two, it's not much needed for cold as much as is needed for heat. And just get you as fit as possible. That's always my rule of thumb. If you're going to a race that it's very hilly or has a lot of incline and you don't have a lot of inclines, the only thing you can do really is just get there as fit as possible. If you're fit, you will be able to face anything. Fit, meaning fit and strong. If you're those two, your body, you will be able to sort it.
I have a question on the back of that.
Yeah.
Is that, see, underfoot? Because obviously sand, what you do is when you're running in it or you're walking in it, you feel yourself on it and you sink down and back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I would have thought that snow would have been the same.
Oh no, it's way much more slippery.
So even with your crampons and everything, you felt it?
Yeah, and the crampons actually is not 100% advisable. If it's not ice, it's not advisable to use crampons, because if you're running instead of sliding, which may be a little bit better for the joint, you can get stuck and then your joint can go one way.
Oh, and it can go there.
And the crampon, because this is stuck,
yep,
it will go the other way.
Yeah.
So that actually, it was very like, some people say, oh, I feel better running with it. Great. I didn't, because I prefer to slide.
Yeah.
Like I'm strong enough. Like I would just slide and shuffle. But if I have the crampon, I would get stuck.
Yeah.
And then if I'm sliding, I feel actually more of like an injury.
The one thing we were fortunate enough to have in Dubai is we've actually got ski Dubai here.
Yeah.
And you went and tried the gear there, which was handy. I mean, you couldn't really
So
run
right.
it, but I guess you could try the gear.
Yeah, that's what I did exactly to prepare for the snow one. We went and walk around that snow park. If you have one snow park, and then just be a little bit there in the cold. And if you don't, again, just following a cold exposure protocol before the days, just so your body kind of knows or kind of gets an idea of feeling that temperature.
Ice baths.
Yeah, exactly. But not really like, it's just so your body doesn't,
Okay.
But it's not as much as you would need it as a heat. Heat, if you're going to a place that is hot, I would advise it more. But cold, I would, if you are going to do a race in the snow, what I would recommend even more is to be really strong. One of the things that I noticed in the race is that a lot of people were struggling with knee pain and kind of like getting injuries in the sense of, because again, it's very slippery. And if your muscles are not really strong, and let's say you're slipping or you slipped and your muscle is not, and your muscle neural connection is not well adapted and not well connected, you're going to slip and you're going to, it's proprioception. It's not, and I did a lot of exercises on that. So I would recommend you digging into that if you're going to do any races in the snow, proprioception movements. And my coach Sarah sent me some exercise, and I was like, am I training for Cirque du Soleil here or what the hell? But I could feel those exercises making so much sense when I was running, and I'm feeling like, obviously there was a lot of imbalance because obviously you're running in snow, you're slipping around, and I could feel my core and my legs and my hips kind of like reacting quickly.
Yeah.
And that is because my neuro connections with my muscles were connected, because I worked a lot in balancing and with elastic bands and all that. So yeah, I would recommend you digging into that as well.
Also, it's worth noting in cold weathers that if you go to extreme cold weathers, and even just generally cold weather, you'll find that existing injuries are aggravated.
Yeah.
So anybody that would have had previous knee pain,
maybe
it was probably inflated.
Yeah, and your muscles will take a little bit longer. They will be a little bit tighter as well.
Did you use the Andy fact from the previous season
Yeah,
about
I did.
stretching
I
before
didn't
you
warm
did?
up. No, I didn't warm
Did
up.
you not warm up?
I walked. I think the first loop that we ever did every day was a walk-in because the path
Yeah, it
was
was a
not
warm-up,
settled.
really.
So the first one or two loops were absolutely torture. Everyone's falling all over because it's just deep sand. There's no trail. After 100 people passed the same loop, it was a little bit more
Yeah,
settled
more
and
packed.
it was a little bit more slushy and it was a little bit more like sliding. But yeah, that would be my advice. But if you have more questions, send me a web message if you have what race you're doing, and we can advise. Because I've seen there was an Arctic marathon that was in the ice or in the lake that was ice. That's definitely crampons. That's different. Anyway, next one. I assume everyone asked you this. How did you go to the toilet?
It's a favourite topic, we always say.
Well, I tried to go to the toilet before leaving, clearly. I only went twice during the course, and because the long days, because I'm in 12 hours, and drinking a lot of fluids, because all my food was in the fluids. They did have a wee portable toilet, one of those plasticky, tiny, like the ones that kids kind of start going to the toilet.
So did you have to expose your bum to the freezing cold
Yeah.
floor? Oh,
No. But hold on. I need to say this is the best part. There is no doors or anything.
So was it behind like a bit of tarp or something?
No.
It was just a potty in the snow. And
Yeah. It was a little bit further away from the start
So they couldn't tell who it was.
But I mean, I could still know you're there. And yeah. I think the third or fourth day, like later on, they implemented a kind of like a barrier. But I mean, it was not very good. And I heard terrible stories. I think someone fell because obviously the little toilet is put in the snow. And if you sat, it's not also even very even. And I think someone fell in the toilet. I don't know. I heard the stories. Anyway, I went twice only, and it was not too bad. I went fast. I went fast, and it was funny because I was going to the toilet, and the girl was like, "Oh, you go first." And I said, "Okay, just watch out." So she was like behind, like she put her back behind the toilet, so no one could see me really. Like they could see her first. So at least she was like the barrier. So yeah, it was fun. I will tell you what, it had the best view a toilet can have.
Sitting there looking at it.
I'll put a video that I took because I took a video because I was like, this is the $1 million view toilet. Yeah, that was cool. Anyway, last one because we're definitely going over. How did your fueling differ from your hot desert runs? Yeah, going again into a little bit of the food. This one, it didn't differ because it was cold. It differed because of all the implications and situation in the Antarctica that everything was prohibited, like no nuts, no wrappers, no eating around in the course. So, I knew I couldn't take my 90 grams of carbs every hour. So I had to go into the powders. And so... yeah, it differed because of that rather than because of the weather.
The bigger impact would have been that you would have had a meal every night on the boat.
Yeah, and then also we were very well fed.
I mean, the other one, because if you think about it, you had a proper meal every night on the boat and a breakfast, so on.
A really good breakfast, yeah.
But what you would have been doing is if you were in a desert, for example, you would have been getting up, cooking yourself some dehydrated food or whatever, and then you would have been gelling throughout the day, and then you would have got back home and or got back to camp and had a dehydrated food.
Yeah.
So it's completely different having a proper meal.
Completely different, game changer. And that's the other thing. We were really well fed as well in the boat. So it differed a lot because of that situation. If you're doing a race that it's in the cold, I wouldn't change it too much. Again, it depends what works for you. I would say just keep it. The only thing, if it's going to freeze, that's the only thing that you have to have in mind. If you have gels, And if it's really cold, we were very lucky with the weather. Again, we didn't get extreme cold, so my things were never frozen or anything. But I would imagine if it gets really cold, like you will have to be like thinking about. That's why I put it in my water.
Do you know something that I was thinking about actually while you were away and you were talking, because we talked about it in the previous podcast, is that actually, even though you weren't allowed to take gels, for example, onto Antarctica because of the plastic, you were so warm that your body heat would probably have dealt with it. Do you know what I mean? So you would have had them there, maybe in your vest or whatever, and your body
close to your body.
Would have dealt with sort of keep.
That's a good point, and I've done that also in Scotland a couple of times. Just keep your things close to your body, and that would keep them from not freezing. And I wouldn't change too much. Again, it would depend what you like and what you don't like, what's allowed, what's not allowed. In these race, where there are a lot of things that were not allowed. And not being able to eat every hour was definitely a game changer. But I didn't feel bad, so it was okay. It was a good balancing act. But it depends what kind of race you are referring to. If you have a race in mind like that, send me a wee DM message, and we can chat. And if I can help you with any deeper advice, we're always here to help. So thank you for your questions, and next week we are going to start diving into stage 1, stage 2 of the crazy race. I'll tell you a funny story about how I almost blow up the boat. It involves a pepperoni.
That is just...
And a toilet.
I know what the story is, and it's horrific, so it's definitely stay tuned
All
for
right, guys. And have a wonderful weekend. Again, happy holidays. And remember to keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.